Hello and welcome to the weekly wrap with USA Liberalists. Today we are here with Jordan and Travis.
Hello.
Hello.
We're going to be talking about something very near to my heart, the Portland police and some of the goings on in Portland. We were also going to cover some of what went on in the House with Candace Owens and talk about Trump versus the EU. And if we have some time left, we'll probably talk a little bit about the Julian Assange arrest, though that was fairly recent news to me, so I didn't prep a lot for that. So,
oh, don't worry, I've been following.
Neither have I.
Okay, Jordan's got that one.
Yes, that's my contribution.
So, let's start with Portland police, because I went like hardcore research mode on this story. So
Yeah,
I know everything about it. Now, this story isn't brand new either. I just thought it deserved a little bit of a better look. It kind of has a cross section of different things, like what happens if your city becomes too progressive, and kind of like some of the bias from media outlets, because I got several different stories here. But let's start with the general overview of things. So Patriot Prayer is a local, I'd say they're right wing, that's fair, or conservative group in Portland. Well, they're the founders from Vancouver, but they protest in Portland and they do protests in Washington State as well. But every time they come to Portland, Antifa shows up and starts problems. So
sounds like them, yeah.
Sounds pretty normal.
So far, yeah.
So far, so good. One of the local newspapers here, I believe it was the Willamette Week, which they have some good reporting. They definitely have a left bias. But they'll have the facts in there too. So they're not as terrible as somebody like, I don't know, Huffington Post. But they're not near the middle. I'd say they're just basically like a CNN or something like that. Well, CNN's probably worse.
I don't think you want to compare them to that.
Yeah, probably. That's probably not. Maybe more like an MSNBC.
Which one's actually? Let's side tangent, because those are extremely rare on the show. All right, which one's worse, MSNBC or CNN?
CNN.
CNN, yeah.
CNN? Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, at least with CNN, I can like flip it on and be like, okay, this is a general outline. If I just remove all of the opinion pieces, I do at least know what's happening. I go to MSNBC and I just feel like I'm being bombarded with Russian.
We'll stop watching Rachel Maddow.
It's not just Rachel. It's not just Rachel. The network seems to be doubling down on it.
Yeah, well, I don't watch either one of them very much, so.
I try to have a healthy news diet. All right, I try to have a healthy news diet.
I know at least from CNN, they they masquerade around as left wing, but then they want to come out and support Mr. Joe Biden.
I mean, that still sounds left wing, because I know Creepy Joe and Rapey Bill Clinton, and you're complete hypocrites on this, but is anybody really surprised that the left isn't really holding their own accountable?
No.
I mean, that's not new.
It's really not.
The right can do that sometimes too, but like, at least when it gets really bad, they're much more willing to go ahead and be like, all right, no, dude, get out.
Yeah, pretty much. We should go. We should continue on from Portland.
Hold on a second, guys.
I was talking about. My tangents are completely related.
No, keep talking about CNN and stuff. 1 second, I'll be right back.
Okay, you're talking about CNN. So CNN's garbage, and Rachel Maddow is still garbage. In case anyone's wondering that doesn't torture themselves with Maddow as often as I do,
I
she does.
definitely don't.
She is still talking about Russia. Actually, I decided to go look around for a variety of reactions to what's happening with the whole Russia thing. I decided to go get some hot takes from some of like the lefties that I trust a little bit more than the others. So I got some Kyle Kalinske. I didn't see David Pakman react to it. I might have just missed it. And some Jimmy Dore.
Michael Tracy called out David Pakman.
Oh yeah.
So did Kyle a while ago.
Oh yeah, for what?
About the Russiagate.
That was David Pakman doubling down on it.
Yes.
Okay, well that doesn't entirely surprise me. I know some people think Pakman's a really good commentator. I don't see it.
I don't.
Yeah. Like Kyle, I can understand why you like him. If anyone that does just watches him, he's a bit of a cunt, but he knows it, and that's fine. At least I think he's an honest actor. And same for Jimmy Dore. And both of them were calling out Rachel. We're just being like, dude, please let it go. Please stop. 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 Jesus. You're making us look like idiots. Because, I mean, she kind of is. But and Kyle has his own like laundry list of things he doesn't like about Trump anyway, that he's like, we should be talking about this instead. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know about all that, but whatever.
All right, I'm back.
All right.
All
There's
right.
still no consensus on whether or not MSNBC or CNN is worse, but that's okay. We can move on anyway.
All right, cool. We'll just say they're both terrible.
They both suck, yes.
They both suck.
Okay, so the local newspaper, the Willamette, I believe it was the Willamette Week, broke the story that there was this police officer who was in communication with Joey Gibson, who's the leader of Patriot Prayer.
Okay.
And they were exchanging text messages, and they wrote up a story about this.
I'm assuming evil text messages.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it's if you believe the activists and the mayor and some people in the media, it was basically Nazis messaging each other.
Oh, shit. Nazi communication. Oh, fuck. Not again. All right.
Well, have you heard the chant at some of these protests that it goes, the cops and the Klan go hand in hand?
Yep.
Basically, this is that come to life for them.
Dude, the cops in Portland are so fucking nice.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Dude,
I've interacted with them several times.
Can you imagine these guys in like any other city? Holy shit. Can we just send Antifa to Chicago for a week? Oh my god. Or like New York proper?
We don't have any to spare.
But
we'll get to that later.
Look, Detroit can take some.
No, look, we're gonna rent a bus. We're gonna say there's free soy lattes on it. And we're just all gonna bus them out to Chicago.
Are you trying to get Antifa out to Chicago, or?
Yes, I want Antifa in Chicago.
Okay.
I just want to see what they do when they've got to deal with like actual police.
Well, every time they get in a fight with Patriot Prayer and the Proud Boys, they lose.
I mean, it's true. Although I would say that I really want the Patriot Prayer and the Proud Boys to just stop getting in those like street brawls. It's not helpful, but all right.
Well, sometimes you can't help it.
Look, I get it. I know it, but, oh my god.
Which is why Patriot Prayer is in contact with.
Right. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. So.
No, fair enough.
This officer, Jeffrey Naya.
I thought you were about to say Jeffree Star for a second. I was about to be real excited.
No. Jeffrey Naya. He's been on the police force for 22 years, and he's the bureau's liaison with demonstrators, and he's been in that position since Occupy Portland in 2011.
Okay.
They've kind of portrayed him as being like super chummy with Joey Gibson and favoriting, like showing favoritism towards Patriot Prayer. but in reality, there's no organizational structure to Antifa or any of these counter-protesting people, and so there's nobody to communicate with.
Well, I mean, there is an organizational structure. It's just a terrorist's organizational structure.
Yeah, exactly. It's decentralized.
Yes.
And so they don't have anyone to communicate with that can disseminate information or kind of lead the overall group. They all just kind of do what they want.
Dude, you know what? Antifa, I've got advice for Antifa. All right, Antifa, what you need to do, you need to set up like some sort of like offset phone number so that it's not like attached to any particular person, and just like refer to yourselves as the Overmind, because I would be extremely entertained to learn that the police were speaking with the Overmind to have to get in touch with Antifa.
Ha 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 ha.
Who's your friend at Antifa? The Overmind.
Who's your contact? Yeah.
Oh shit.
No, it's because of the decentralized structure and the culture of not speaking with the police and not cooperating with police within activist groups here in Portland. They just don't want to talk to them, and then now they're using that lack of communication, which they're the ones failing to communicate, as a weapon to attack this police officer and the Portland police and Patriot Prayer, and to drum up sympathy for their own, their tribe, I guess. And it's working. So they have City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty and Mayor Ted Wheeler. They reacted to the release of these tweets, which Ted Wheeler's the police commissioner, so you would assume that he would know generally that his officers are speaking with both Patriot Prayer and Antifa.
Mm-hmm.
You would assume that he would know that.
Yeah.
But he's like outraged. They claim that the communication is evidence of long-standing fears that police have colluded with, quote, ultra-conservative demonstrators and targeted leftist opponents.
Wait.
Now, this is
oh
from...
boy, do I love that old term, ultra-conservative.
It's slightly better than alt-right, I guess.
It's what Clinton used to say.
I am the ultra-conservative.
Exactly.
That should have been the name of the show.
Dude, that should be like a band name. Up next, we have the ultra-conservative. Woo!
Yeah. This is from the local state, not the state run, but it's this local Oregon newspaper called the Oregonian. It's their website version of it, Oregon Live. So of course they say ultra conservative when referring to Patriot Prayer, and they'll say leftists when referring to Antifa, when it's probably more like mainstream conservative and ultra left.
Man, they would probably refer to me as ultra-conservative. I'm not even on the right.
I am totally on the right.
I mean, right, but my point is, like, they literally have no clue what conservative means. When they say conservative, I'm hearing someone that doesn't agree with me, because it's almost never someone talking about something that's actually conservative or that's like a conservative talking point. It's just not an Antifa talking point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what does ultra conservative even mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, are they super Christian? Do they believe in monarchy? Like what?
I mean, I guess maybe the evangelicals could qualify for that, but
yeah, maybe.
Like, even then, it's sort of like, again, ultra conservative compared to what? Because I wouldn't even really consider most of the alt-right guys necessarily ultra conservative. Most of them
are the regular conservatives.
I mean, I was about to say Candace Owens, then I'm like, no, she's pretty out there, actually.
Yeah, she's a little further right than me, so.
Yeah. God, she's like a fucking pendulum ball. She went all the way. Jesus Christ. Do you remember how like she originally got on the scene? You guys remember that?
social autopsy.
Social autopsy, yeah,
Yep.
like the doxing site. She went from all the way hard left to all the way hard right. I'm like, God damn.
It's the power of Anita. One look and she turns you conservative. It's like a Medusa.
Jesus Christ.
Except turning you to stone, she turns you the other way.
She turns your heart into stone, which thus makes you a conservative.
She makes you the big gay.
Well, you can't say that. That's a right-wing talking point now.
What? Just the word gay?
Well, yeah, the rainbow flag. Didn't you see that meme?
Wait, the rainbow flag is conservative now? Holy shit!
No, it's
You know why?
It's alt-right.
You know why? Because I think last year they added on brown and some other fucking color. I think black.
Yeah, black and brown. Well,
because the other colors were representing the wide diversity, especially purple.
Here's the meme. It's they show the rainbow flag, and then they show like a reddish gray flag, and they say, "Separate is beautiful, together is ugly." And so they want all the races separated, like on the rainbow flag.
Oh, good lord!
Telling you, they're gonna claim that one next. They got the OK hand gesture, milk, Pepe the Frog, the new Pepe, which is Honkler, I think.
This is the clown one? Yeah, the clown one.
The clown Pepe, yeah.
Honestly, the alt-right's having a lot more trouble with the clown one because everybody's using it, so they're having a harder time like making it theirs. But oh my god,
the normies got a hold of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, cause it's not even the normies got a hold of it. It's that like the left and the right both kind of like in the middle. They're both kind of like the honk. They both like Honkler because it's funny. It's a cute little fucking clown frog.
Clown frog, come on.
Yeah, like literally.
He's got rainbow hair. I mean, it makes sense that they would go for the rainbow flag next.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
someone's gonna have to make like sort of like a blended palette version of the rainbow flag just to annoy the alt-right guys.
Where they're gonna. Well, I'm waiting for the. What is it? The Nazi variation of the rainbow flag. You know, like the Kekistan flag.
God, every time I talk to the alt-right, I just get a headache.
I know they're just as bad as the SJWs, man.
They're worse. It's like a poorly educated version of the SJWs. Like, at least those guys went to college.
Yeah, that's true.
Holy shit.
But at least they have fun with it sometimes, you know?
That's true. I will give the alt-right credit for that. They at least can have a good time.
They're at least funny sometimes.
Yeah, I could probably have a beer with one of those guys and not completely want to commit seppuku by the end of it.
Well, you know.
Well, no, if you have actually, but whatever.
If you have beer, if you have a beer with a SJW, you got to make sure it's one of those non-colonial beers, colonizing beers. No Sam Adams.
I was wondering where he was going.
No Captain Morgan's.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Well, okay, no, they can fuck themselves. I love Captain Morgan. Dude, that rum is my shit. Like with a little Coke. Oh my god. But for any SJWs listening, I'm talking about Coca-Cola, not cocaine. We don't all do that. That's a you guys thing. Calm down.
Yeah, you have to be rich enough to afford it.
Yeah, seriously. That's some bougie drugs. We can't afford that down here.
We just got marijuana, man, and it's legal.
We're happy with it. I mean, what?
That's part of the problem in Oregon. Anyway, we'll get to that later too.
Oh yeah, I saw the police interview where they're like, "Look, we can't just be smoking pot all day and then come apply and expect us to."
Yeah, that was a city council meeting in Portland, but we'll get to that.
Yes.
So the executive director of the Police Executive Research Forum, his name is Chuck Wexler, and it's a nonprofit police organization. they said that if there's one thing we learned from Charlottesville, because you always got to connect this sort of stuff to Charlottesville. You have to connect with demonstrators from both sides. Not to do that is a recipe for disaster. You can't just pick and choose which demonstrators you like, which I think is actually a very honest and very true statement. You can't
That sounds fair to me. Yeah,
the police need to talk to everybody.
Yep, even the people that call them animals.
Yeah.
Racists pay taxes too. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, Oregon Live also talked to a former FBI agent and national security professor at the University of Southern California.
Sure.
And he said that he can understand how it looks to oppositional groups like Antifa and apparently Ted Wheeler and some members on the Portland City Council.
A list of people that have no idea what police are for.
Yeah, he basically says that it doesn't look really good. Like the optics are bad, but
how are the optics bad? Oh my god! Sorry,
because they're right wing. Do you not understand?
Well, I can tell you because we're going to talk. We're going to talk about this in a minute. Well, I'll just tell you now, because when Patriot Prayer, the first march that they did. Okay, back up a little bit. So in Portland, we have something called the Rose Parade. We have it every year, and it's like it's coming up pretty soon.
Oh yeah.
But there's also additional events outside that, like we have like a Rose Festival, and they do like crowning of the Rose Court. So they have like high schoolers become like the Rose Queen and stuff like that. And there's also
Antifa crashes because it's racist.
Well, they did one year.
Of course they did.
They were having a Rose Parade on.
I was joking.
82nd, which isn't the main parade, which was like 82nd is kind of not like super low income, but it's kind of like a lower income area.
Sure.
It's not really even that bad, but they sent threats to the organizers of the parade saying that if they allowed the Republican Party to march in the parade, which they've marched in the parade every year forever, then they were going to come down and flood the street with Antifa people and drag them out of there, essentially. So they threatened the parade, and so they ended up canceling the parade because they're cucks. Sorry to borrow a phrase from the alt-right, but fuck, like I would just say, bring it on. But this was right after Trump got elected. This was a couple years ago. And
actually, a British term now. There's a party called the Cucks.
I heard that. Antifa had just. That was when we saw all the like protests that were against Trump after he got elected. And Antifa, the protests in Portland caused over $1 million in damage.
Mm-hmm.
They destroyed like transformers. They went to like a car lot and just started like smashing windows of cars and stuff. And so the people who were organizing the parade were pretty afraid. And in response to that, Joey Gibson organized Patriot Prayer and did a march. And at this march, there was a person named Jeremy Christian there. And he's the guy who made national headlines for stabbing 3 people on a Max train and killing 2 of them. Total asshole, white nationalist, super crazy son of a bitch. But he was at this march and he was saying crazy stuff, and Patriot Prayer kicked him out, but they never mention that. They just say he was at this march, and so they try to associate Patriot Prayer with this murderer. And that's why these optics don't look good, because the media have constantly made this connection between this murderer and Patriot Prayer. And they also, and Patriot Prayer has worked with the Proud Boys in the past too, and they're pretty controversial group.
All right, sorry, I had to answer the door real quick. What's up?
I think I got
Proud Boys and stuff.
Yeah, did you hear about the murderer that was at one of the Patriot Prayer rallies?
I'm sorry, what?
So there's a guy who murdered 2 people on the MAX train, which is our light rail system,
Okay.
and he was at the first Patriot Prayer march,
Oh God.
but he got Patriot Prayer and Antifa actually teamed up to try to kick him out, and the police couldn't. They just said like, well, he's not hurting anybody, he's just yelling awful stuff, we can't do anything about it. But the media uses his presence there to kind of paint Patriot Prayer in a bad light. So that's why these are bad optics, quote unquote, is
Yeah.
because the police are talking to a group who also had a murderer at one of their rallies. And they were associated with the Proud Boys. And so the Proud Boys got into a lot of trouble.
Just does the media really want to play the game of which side has the violent bitches? Really?
Well, they don't have a body count yet, I guess. So
I mean, fucking
I
not that we
mean,
know of, really, but
well, I mean, it depends on how loose you want to be with left and right. It's not
I'm
for
just
lack of
saying.
trying either. Like there
Yeah,
was
exactly.
that shooter who shot Steve Scalise and the Republicans at the um, baseball game or
Yeah,
practice.
they tried. Not to mention the guy. Like everybody makes fun of the bike lot guy, but you get a nice strong hit with one of those. That's a blackjack. That's an actual weapon.
Well, I'm surprised that guy who got hit with it is okay or survived. You know,
Yeah,
like he got
seriously.
hit full on top of the head.
It's like getting hit with a flail. So getting hit
Don't
with one
do
of
it.
those can actually kill someone. Yeah, no, seriously.
Luckily, we got the guy.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, but I heard he got off. Kind of. I think he got like community service or something stupid.
Oh, bullshit.
Yeah, seriously.
So this police officer, Naya, he got in trouble a couple years ago for text messages with um, an activist named June Davies, aka Gia,
Mhm.
and she's a left-wing activist. She was a medic for left-wing activist groups. So she was an Antifa medic essentially. So if someone gets hurt, she patches them up. And what happened there was that uh, when Antifa found out that she was in contact with the police, who was just trying to be in contact with somebody in one of these groups so that they could know what's going on and prevent any sort of violence and let them have their First Amendment rights, which is what
Mhm.
the police are supposed to do, Antifa ostracized her from the group. So, I mean, you can kind of see a pattern here. It's Antifa hates the police, so any chance that they get, and they also have allies in the media and in elected office here in Portland.
How do people
So
like this get allies? I don't get it. I don't get it.
you don't get what?
How people like this get allies?
They all have the same political viewpoint, I guess.
I mean, sure, but you're in office. Like, surely you've talked to police officers. You should know they're not just evil.
Well, Ted Wheeler is the police commissioner.
That's true.
So, well, funny little twist in the world, you know. Our police chief,
Mm-hmm.
her name is Danielle Outlaw. So we have a police chief named Outlaw.
In any other city, that would be badass.
Right? Like, and she doesn't seem like a completely terrible person, but she does kind of seem like she has no idea what she's doing half the time.
Was that the lady I saw in that like the interview with the mayor's office where they were talking about potheads that couldn't become police? Was that her?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but she might have been there.
Okay.
Black. She's black. She wears thick rimmed glasses.
Sounds right.
Okay, yeah,
But
it's
who knows?
probably her. Yeah.
Might have been someone else. I don't know.
So due to that incident with Gia,
Mhm.
with June Davies, Naya's had little success reaching out to Antifa, self-described. So this is where the Oregon newspaper got it right. Self-described anti-fascist demonstrators, because they're not anti-fascist. They're self-described. That's perfect. That's good journalism. So they've had trouble reaching out to these guys because anybody that talks with the police is immediately ostracized from the group.
I got pulled over once. Am I ostracized?
No, you're a victim now. You can be
Sweet.
a member of Antifa.
I met with my now one, my ostracized.
Yeah, it's too late for you.
Nico is. Well, never mind. I don't know what he wants to say on there. He's not here, so I won't.
That's fair. We'll talk with him before we say anything like that.
Yeah, we have to have him on again too sometime.
Oh yeah.
So Lieutenant Craig Morgan is the president of the Portland Police Commanding Officers Association, which is the police union that represents the lieutenants.
Okay.
And he said that obviously Joey Gibson was willing to engage in a dialogue and quite frankly willing to provide information to us. We were getting valuable information to help us shape our responses and keep Portland safe. You can second guess the friendly tone, but the reality is it's done to build rapport with people, to get information out of them for public safety. That's a time-tested technique. Naya has tried to do it with people from all sides. So the police are pretty woke on this, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine a police officer that's sitting there seriously going, police are all evil. They suck. Everything they do is garbage.
Well, and I've been to a couple of these Patriot Prayer rallies, and it's always the people on the Patriot Prayer side. I'd say 9 out of 10, because you occasionally get the odd person who is that weird libertarian anti-state person who doesn't like the police. But for the most part, they say thank you to the police. They thank them for helping protect the area where they're having the rally, and they show appreciation towards the police, where Antifa will say anything and do anything in order to antagonize you in the hope that you will hit them. And sadly, they're successful.
God, I can't even imagine my entire movement being predicated on I have to force other people to victimize me.
Right.
Quote unquote victimize.
We already talked about the Max Train stabber. Mm-hmm. They bring it up in the story, so that's why I wanted to mention it, is that they always bring up that guy when they talk about Patriot Prayer as if he was like a founding member or something. It's like, no, he showed up at one rally and they tried to kick him out, but the police said they couldn't do anything about it. And they can't. What do you want them to do? Beat the shit out of the guy?
Yeah.
Antifa was there and they didn't do anything about it.
Because they need someone in there to connection.
Right.
Connection.
Right. So
that's the guy, the Max Train stabber.
Yeah. So one of the big bones of contention they had was Naya's texts. He texted movements of counter-protesters to Joey Gibson. And he also said that, if the officers will be on foot or on bikes, and warned, they say warned, but he just talked to Joey Gibson about an arrest warrant for a man named who's called Tiny.
Okay.
Who's not tiny, by the way.
They never are they?
No, he's like a 6'4" Samoan guy.
I mean, for a Samoan, that could be tiny.
Yeah, maybe. Nice. If you meet him, he's just like I wouldn't say he's like a teddy bear, but he's a friendly. You can talk to him, but don't fuck with him, man. He will knock you out.
Yeah. Still sounds right, yeah.
And he originally came across Patriot Prayer when he came to protest against them, and then he actually started talking to Joey Gibson and liked what he had to say, and like started to like. He's one of these guys who was originally on the left and kind of came over more towards the right.
Cool.
But then he got involved with the Proud Boys and everything, which is a strike against the Proud Boys being a white supremacist group if they have Samoans in their ranks, I guess. Unless they're part of the white supremacist conspiracy now, too.
I mean, last I checked, Samoans aren't white, but you know,
so those are
how much those guys love Asian waifus. I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
no, they help white people in any way they're connected.
Yep, that's it. You can't help the white devils. So those were the three like bones of contention everyone has with these text messages, and the reason. And Joey Gibson said this in a video that the reason Naya told him about Tiny's arrest warrant is so they wouldn't arrest him at the protest and create like a scene, create like, and not, it wasn't for Tiny's sake. It was anytime somebody gets arrested at one of these things, like the other side cheers, like they won a victory or something. It's weird. It's a weird thing. I highly recommend going to, to these things just to experience it for yourself.
Nice afternoon out.
Yeah, it's fun. You get, mortars thrown at you, pepper spray fills the air, people in shops and stuff like film you as you walk by and just like watch everything.
It sounds so fun.
It's a little surreal, to be honest. Large hordes of individuals clad in all black with only their eyes showing, screaming at you and throwing bottles full of urine.
And too bad that Pepsi crossover didn't work out for us.
Bring your kids.
Kendall Jenner just walks through the battle lines, hands everyone a Pepsi at once. Just fucking gross 10 arms. Have a fucking Pepsi, bitches.
So Naya, the information he got from Joey Gibson, he shared with the police chief, the assistant police chief, and others, including the mayor's office, which is why it's so like disingenuous that Ted Wheeler's outraged about this. At one point, the communications referenced a meeting between the police, Gibson, and Wheeler before a protest that was in June 2017.
Okay.
Naya congratulated Joey Gibson when he learned that he was running for U.S. Senate, which he did in Washington, and he did not. I don't think he won the primary, but he definitely didn't get elected to office. So,
winning the primary is usually a good start for that sort of thing.
Yeah, typically that helps a lot. Joey Gibson also apologized to Naya, so they seemed like have like a good relationship. And it just kind of shows that Joey wants to work with the police in preventing violence, where Antifa is just excoriating the police and want to commit violence. Now, I'll be honest. Go ahead.
So if you like, I'm looking at the emails. This looks like just procedure.
Yeah, it's pretty basic stuff. Like,
oh man, it's just so, it's just so collusionist when I don't. That's not a word. When
it is now.
When people just want to prevent something, some bad things from happening. But
right, like the police want to do their job.
But it's just a leg up for Antifa, just to get this out and rolling.
Right. I mean, yeah.
I don't know what anybody was actually expecting to find in those text messages. It's just, I mean, cool. He's reasonably friendly with some guy in the police because he needs to be.
Well, if you've ever had interaction, like the police, all my interactions with the police, even the ones where I was in trouble, like when I got my DUI or I've been pulled over for speeding or something, have all been fairly pleasant. I'll be honest. Like, and then when I got my DUI, I rolled my truck.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
like, yeah, don't drink and drive. It's awful, and you spend so much money for nothing. It's a cab is Uber is way cheaper. Cabs
Yeah,
are
we
way
are.
cheaper. It's cheaper to rent to get a hotel room than it is to drive home. So don't do it. Trust me. You'll wish you got the hotel room.
Unless you think you can get away with it at least 1,000 times in a row, then it's worth it.
And,
Not
in
worth
which
it.
case, you ain't doing it.
Not worth it at all.
In case anyone's curious, 1,000 times in a row is highly unlikely.
Yeah.
So
Well,
don't
yeah.
do it.
When I got mine, like all my friends said, "Well, we've all done it. You're just the only one who got caught." And I'm like, "Yeah, like don't do it anymore. Like call me if you need a ride now. I'm not drinking ever again."
They're all laughing at you like, "Oh God, he's the dumb one now."
Yep, he's an idiot. So
Good job
Joey
getting
Gibson.
caught, stupid.
Joey Gibson apologized because I think he made a remark either in a video or to a newspaper where he said that the Portland police has their back. And I kind of remember him saying this, and it was a rally where I think after he said that at the rally, the police declared it a riot, essentially. That was the one that I was at with the mortars and stuff.
Okay, any citizen, there is no citizen that shouldn't be able to say the police have my back. Seriously.
Right, it's not a terrible thing to say, but it kind of shows like, oh, they have our backs, meaning they don't have the other people's backs too, which I get how you can kind of imply that, but it's not like the police. It's not the police saying, "Oh, we got their back, but we don't have theirs." It's
right.
It's one person saying this, you know. So former Portland Deputy City Attorney Jason Lewis, he was a legal advisor for the PPB for a couple years, and he said he read the text messages. And he said he found them to all be professional and courteous, or found him to be professional and courteous to all sides. And that there seems to be a lot of criticism because he was friendly. And he said, I can guarantee you he was the same with all groups, which he probably was. It's just Joey Gibson responded in kind, and Antifa probably told him to fuck off, pig.
Yeah.
Might be exact quote. So concerning the warrant for, we talked about Tiny. Yeah, they were trying to avoid a flashpoint by having him arrested during the rally. They also said that they told Gibson about the movement of the counter protesters because they were trying to avoid a clash between them. Because every time you get these big groups together, they stand. You know, have you ever seen one of those movies like Gladiator or something where they have the two armies just standing, staring each other down, and then or Lord of the Rings where they come marching on Helm's Deep. Somebody accidentally lets loose one of the arrows and kills one of the orcs, and then chaos starts breaking loose after that. It's kind of that. That's like real.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense. But yeah, they probably just want to avoid riots in general of any kind, either from, because I mean, you don't know how the Patriot. I mean, even if it wasn't Antifa there, you wouldn't necessarily know how Patriot Prayer is going to react to having one of their guys taken away. There could easily be some crazy guy in the crowd that's like, "No, fuck this."
Yeah, and with a public rally, like you don't always know. Even the organizers don't even know who's coming in, and
exactly
who's affiliated with what, or what their background is, or what their intentions are for being there.
Sure.
So Morgan, who's the union president, said that there's a sense of frustration that the mayor condemned Naya's actions before an internal investigation began, and it feels like he's already got his mind made up, which I would agree. He
No,
does.
really?
Right. And this is the same mayor when Antifa camped. I forget how, I think it was maybe like 100 days or like for like a month. I think it was a month actually, where they camped outside of ICE headquarters in Portland, and they were threatening ICE agents, following them home, and he told the police to not help them. The ICE agents. And these aren't
Jesus
like
Christ.
out in the field ICE agents. These are like people behind desks, like filling out forms and
Like office
paperwork.
workers.
Yeah. And so this is kind of trolly, but one of the things there weren't, I don't want to say that they were like members of Patriot Prayer, but they are more conservative people. They went down to the ICE headquarters and like brought them like water and cookies and stuff. Just to like say like not everybody hates you guys, sort of thing. But yeah, he didn't let them help. He told them to basically stand down. Antifa ended up getting like a coffee shop, like a small little coffee shop across the street, shut down because they served ICE agents and police officers. And it was a nonprofit who donated the money to homeless people, but they got it shut down because they served the wrong person. So I'm imagining like, the KKK in the South shutting down a restaurant because they served black people or something like that. But it doesn't have to be skin color. Now it's just
Thoughts.
are you a cop? Are you conservative? You served the wrong people. You're on the wrong side of history.
Hold up. I got KKK news.
Uh-oh.
This is important. Did you know?
Is this breaking news?
Well, it is for most people. Breaking news about the KKK. Exactly. You don't need like a spinning globe or some shit. You don't actually have to be white to join the KKK anymore. They accept black members now.
Progressive.
Yeah, seriously.
More like pathetic.
I don't know if they were just really low on their membership rolls or what's going on.
Yeah.
But they take that. You know what? If you ever wanted to join the KKK and you're just like, man, I'm too brown for that. Nah, they'll take you.
This is what I waited 100 years for.
This is Martin Luther King's dream. Black people being able to be KKK members.
I think I remember him saying that too. It was one of those less quoted quotes of his.
Very much less quoted.
We are living in clown world.
Yeah, we are, aren't we? Who started that phrase? Because I heard it first from Sargon, but
yeah, that's where I think I heard it too.
He's not the first person that said that. He got that from someone. That was way too well.
No, I think it came from 4chan.
Did it?
Yeah, probably.
It makes sense that fucking shitlord Sargon got it from 4chan too.
Well, it goes with the honkler meme.
Oh,
it's not Kekistan. We don't live in Kekistan anymore. It's clown world.
Oh yeah, whatever happened to that? I thought we were all going to be Kekistanis. We just had to tell the census in the UK. They rejected it or something, didn't they?
Oh, probably. Probably didn't get enough people.
No, I think it did get enough people, but the census was like, no.
This isn't a real thing. You're lying.
And I'm like, what the fuck? You guys made Jedi a religion. Fuck you.
Right.
This is too fake for us. Fuck you guys.
You can be a gender other than male or female, but Kekistani,
you can be a goddamn Jedi, and we're saying Kekistani is taking it too far.
You can be a Jedi they as an individual. That's okay. Kekistani, no. It's the bridge too far.
Excuse me, brown people are ridiculous. It's like, yeah, we know.
So I tried to get different perspectives on this story. So I read a Daily Beast article on it.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
I know, I feel dumber for having read it. But this is a good
Be right back.
look. This is a good look into like the bias of certain media outlets, like the Daily Beast, and also into how the people on the other side, I guess the far other side, would characterize this sort of stuff. So this is how they frame. This is how they framed this. This whole story. Okay, I think this was like their first paragraph or their first sentence is a Portland police lieutenant gave the leader of a far right, so they're far right, street fighting group tips about leftist demonstrators' movements, newly released text messages and emails reveal. And they also called Joey Gibson, quote, the leader of a violent far right group, Patriot Prayer. So the only time so Patriot Prayer has rallies in Portland and there's fighting and stuff. That's what makes the big news. Patriot Prayer has had several, like dozens of rallies in Washington State, like in Battleground and Vancouver. No violence. None. Zero. So they are if they were violent, you would think that their violence would happen at the majority of their rallies, or at the very least half of the rallies.
Joey also said they even in Berkeley they didn't have this problem.
Yeah. Yeah, Berkeley, he said there were problems there the first couple times, but even that, like now, that's not really a big deal. But Portland's still holding on to the dream, I guess. The dream of an anarchist paradise. Which sounds like hell to most of us.
Or Somalia.
Right. Well, we got like it's a whole other story, but we got like a ton of homeless people just living under overpasses and stuff and just leaving trash and needles and stuff all over the streets.
So basically San Francisco part 2?
Yeah, San Francisco or, South Seattle.
What about methods?
They're all over the place.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's like tradition.
Okay, I missed most of this conversation. How did we get to this?
Well, we're talking about the Daily Beast article.
Are we saying it's people at the Daily Beast are all methods?
No, you can say that, but I won't.
This legally safe version of this claim is that all Daily Beast members are meth heads. Maybe. That's just my opinion. Allegedly, if you work at the Daily Beast, you're going to be addicted to meth in 2 months flat. Allegedly.
No, we were talking about how Patriot Prayer has rallies anywhere other than Portland, and they're 100% peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're characterizing the story as a violent far right group.
Dude, I don't understand. The media skews it so much because I'll tell some people about some of the shit I've heard coming out of Portland, where like you've got mobs that are taking over the streets and beating little old men that don't follow their directions, and and they're sitting there looking at me scandalized, like I've just said something horrible, and I'm like, yeah, it sucks there. What do you want?
That's true. I can attest to it. I'm so glad I don't live within the city.
I bet.
I live
like
just
being able
far
to drive,
away.
I assume.
Yeah, I love being able to drive. It's freedom, baby.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Driving in Texas was pretty nice too. Like you guys got like yield signs for right turns on like most of the roads, so you don't really have to stop if nobody's coming, which was like half the time I was driving around.
Well, I mean, you're mostly talking about Dallas because you get out in some of the rural areas, and obviously it's not going to be as nice. But
yeah, Dallas was pretty nice.
Dallas is nice. San Antonio's nice. Austin is pretty from a distance.
Looks good on TV.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. The vistas you can get out of Austin are fantastic. Actually driving there is
a challenge.
It's something. It's all on a fucking tight ass grid. So actually navigating through the city is painful sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to stop and look both ways like every 2 seconds.
Ugh.
And then there's probably someone coming in those times. So then you have to figure out, okay, which one of us is going first?
Then you give like the go ahead, and they give you the go ahead, and then you start to go both at the same time. Yeah.
Oh no, fuck that. I drive in San Antonio. You give me the go ahead, I'm fucking going. Fuck you.
Good. I wish more people were like that.
Seriously.
I started doing that. It's great. It feels good. I recommend
It does.
everybody do it.
Yeah, they get what they want, you get what you want. I mean, it works.
Yeah, and you
And
get
if they
places faster.
and if you get like if they try and go with you, you honk your horn really fast. And if they say anything about it, you get out and beat the shit out of them.
God, Texas sounds great. In Portland, you get out of your car and people beat the shit out of your car.
It's like, hold on, wait, no, that's expensive. I'm just gonna beat you.
Yeah. Don't
Like,
destroy
what-
my property.
It's like, don't hold
I'll
on.
heal.
Look, my
I gotta pay
face
somebody to fix
my
this.
face can take it. My windshield cannot.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Expensive.
Jesus. Like this like auto heals itself. I don't know what you think my car has going on.
It's not a Wolverine car. So they talked to Olivia Smith, who's the co-chair of Portland's Democratic Socialists of America, as if she is some sort of like respectable authority figure. And she calls these text messages evidence of a relationship leftists, and this is my personal note here, read this as far leftists.
Okay.
I mean, how are socialists not far leftists?
No, they're democratic. You know.
Oh right. Well,
no, Jesus.
I don't care how you
guarantee most of the Democrats
socialism.
don't buy that shit. I guarantee you most of the Democrats that are running for office, because I know enough politicians to know that when Hillary said, I've got private positions and public positions, that, okay, I didn't even mind that one because I'm like, yeah, that's every politician.
Right.
I don't know what everybody's bitching about. Seriously, this is like, because I mean, even if you go into the consulting firms and talk about politics, one of the first things they're going to tell you is, if you like come up with all this like list of cool ideas you have, they're going to look at you and say straight up, okay, so that's great. Would you like to follow through on those ideas, or would you like to win a race?
Yeah.
And if you'd like to win a race, this is what you're going to say. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet money that most of these like Democratic politicians don't believe half this shit. They don't believe in socialism. They don't believe in all these things. I can think of like 3 or 4 that I can think of that actually bought the Kool-Aid, that are actually drinking it. And the rest of them are just sort of being like, yeah, socialism sounds great.
AOC, Kool-Aid drinking.
I don't even know if AOC is really a Kool-Aid drinker, because her background is just so weird for someone that acts like her.
I think she's making the Kool-Aid.
You think she's making the Kool-Aid?
Exactly.
Oh, fuck. AOC's
That's
the
a good
source.
way of putting it.
she's the source.
Well, like you said, they haven't drank the Kool-Aid, but these Democratic politicians are making it.
Like, where's the Kool-Aid coming out from on AOC? Do we need to put her on like a fountain?
Every orifice.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Don't imagine that too much.
I already imagined it with her like on a fountain.
Also, this is not a kid-friendly show. You've been warned.
We just sort of say shit here.
If you haven't realized that already.
I mean,
I will let my kids watch this show whenever I have them, but that's so they know how badass their father is. So this Democratic Socialists of America co-chair said that these text messages are evidence of a relationship leftists have long suspected between Portland Police Bureau and Patriot Prayer. So she said, quote, American police forces were founded to protect white supremacy and the ruling class that enforces it. This was sort of a given for us, but now we have actual concrete evidence supporting what we already know. So police throughout history at least American police throughout American history were founded to protect white supremacy.
I mean, I guess in a loose sense, you could make a claim on that, but
No,
I mean,
no, you can't.
in a very loose sense, I think you could make a general claim that you could sort of back up there. But I'm just like, nowadays in Portland, in Portland,
in lily white Portland,
like seriously, like we're not talking about some backwater country in Alabama. We're talking about Portland.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, like the police forces probably stem from a tradition of law enforcement going back probably like to England somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe even earlier than that. I'm sure they had police officers in Rome. Probably any civilized society.
I just want these people that are just, we don't need politicians, we don't need police, we don't need any of this shit. We don't need you. We don't need you people. Can we just give them like a space where they can all just try these ideas out in a sort of like safe, somewhat safe, self-contained area where they can realize for themselves that these ideas are stupid?
This is Portland.
I'm just saying, like, even out in California, they actually kind of do have that. It's basically anarchy town where there's no police.
I've heard of that.
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
Yep, there's no police. There's no enforcement system. It is. I really hope you're really good at making friends, because there are criminals that'll use that area to hide out. Some people actually use it as a vacation home because there's just no rules.
Yeah.
So they can pretty much do whatever they want, and as long as they can, either justify or protect it, it's theirs. This is my patch of land because I've got big guns pointing at you to say it's my land.
Exactly. I was going to say, let's get a group together and take it over.
This is ours now, bitches. All you anarchists, get out of here. We're bringing law and order.
No one can stop us.
Man,
they're anarchists, for crying out loud.
No, those people are crazy. I'm not going there.
Fallout San Francisco just got some better updates and graphics.
We're bringing Travis in. He's wearing like a VR headset that we didn't tell him is off. It's just like a camera pointing outwards. It's like, wow, this looks so realistic. This is great.
This is the best game ever. Oh man. So this DSA co-chair, she also said that, quote, "It would be putting ourselves in danger by communicating with the Portland police and giving them a heads up on what we're going to do, because you saw those texts. They were like, Antifa's coming this way."
Yeah.
So apparently, like, Antifa going to attack Patriot Prayer puts Antifa in danger because they lose the element of surprise, I guess, which is the only way they could maybe win a fight, which I don't even think they could because they're all a bunch of little soy boys.
Yeah, the only way they ever win fights is if it's like 10-on-1.
Yeah.
So,
or they punch you in the back of the head or hit you with a metal pipe.
Yeah, or something.
American flag.
Yeah, or something like that.
Sanders supporter.
Oh my god! Yeah, we get it.
God, I hate Antifa so much.
Yeah. No, but I'm just like, yeah, of course they can't win any fights. They need an army that's 10 times the size of the other guy.
Yeah.
To have any chance.
I don't know why people take them so seriously.
I mean, because if they ever did organize, it would actually be a problem. But it's like, have you seen the Steven Crowder video where he sent in his little slightly Antifa-looking friend into Antifa?
Not gay Jared.
Yeah, not gay Jared. Who is definitely not gay. No one dares say otherwise. Yeah, they sent him in, and it was basically, he got like videos of all these people, and Steven Crowder was making a really good point. It's like, this just looks like a really sad social club. Because it kind of is.
Well, all those people got arrested later that night.
Yeah, because
Good.
all those AK-47s they were having
Right.
stashed away somewhere.
Oh yes, just so many
Sawed-off shotgun,
AK-47s. Yeah,
K-bars.
aren't Antifa in favor of gun control?
Not all of them.
No, some of them are like
No.
hardcore ANCAPs.
Yes, there's a group. It's like the John Brown Gun Club or something like that, and they're like Antifa people who carry guns.
That name sounds awful colonialist. I'm just saying.
Right. Well, John Brown was probably a black guy.
That's
Maybe.
fair.
I don't know.
That's a pretty colonized name, though. I don't know. I don't trust it.
Yeah, it's probably the name the colonizers gave him.
That's right. We're just lost all creativity. Unlike Smith, they just gave him whatever.
So the Antifa people, I guess, they were upset because at one rally, which I didn't go to because it was my anniversary with my wife,
Mhm.
they were upset because the police stood between Patriot Prayer and Antifa, but they were upset because the police stood towards Antifa
Yeah.
and had their backs towards Patriot Prayer. And they did this because one, Patriot Prayer had a permit.
Right.
Two, they were in like a confined space, so they had like barricades up, and they were to remain in that space, and they did. And anytime you turn your back on an Antifa member, they will punch you.
Yeah. It's
So,
fair.
um,
Everybody refers to them as a bunch of sneaky losers for a reason.
yeah. So they cite this as like police bias, further police bias. It's not really like, it's just Antifa is just more unpredictable, and they weren't in a set area. They're kind of all over the place. And at this rally too, there were members of Antifa or far left organizations on the Patriot Prayer side holding up signs and like preaching. There was like somebody in like rainbow flag like outfit or something, like some kind of silly like super far lefty people. None of those people got beat up. But when Joey Gibson went over to the Antifa side, he immediately got like stuff thrown at him and attacked.
Can we just? Okay, I have an idea. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get like a bunch of big dudes, right?
Yes.
This is gonna be for the next rally. If an altercation happens, no punching. What you do is you just get a hold of their tiny little manlet wrists, and you pull them into a big old bear hug and just like take them way back into the other side,
Oh,
and just put them in a little
sounds
stupid
good.
and just put them in a little stupid corner. You don't
Just
hurt
get
them.
you're in timeout. Don't
Yeah,
come out until you're not mad anymore.
that's right. And it's just like we just make sure we have enough dudes that we can like just give all of them big bear hugs and just separate them. Because we
Yeah.
both know that they're all completely useless by themselves.
Can't call us homophobic no more.
Right.
Can't call us homophobic.
So a
That's
spokesperson
right. Make sure to get a boner while you do it.
for Rose City Antifa,
Uh-huh.
which is just like the most cancerous group ever. They have like branded merchandise and stuff. It's just crazy.
Oh hell yeah! I love.
They're
I
super
love selling
capitalist
communism.
for anarcho-communists. But the spokesperson said, quote, "We've witnessed the PPB's collaboration with Patriot Prayer and other far-right groups," which they never mentioned these other far-right groups. They're just out there in the ether. Over the last couple years, starting with the PPB providing free transportation at the taxpayer's expense on April 29th, 2017, and continuing through the police attacks on activists that occurred on August 4th, 2018, which then allowed Patriot Prayer and the Proud Boys the opportunity to hunt and attack activists throughout downtown. Now,
You know who those taxpayers are? Probably Patriot, the Patriot prayers.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, probably. I'm trying to imagine what kind of jobs Antifa members have. Let's see. Grocery
Trust fund
bagger.
baby. Starbucks
Yes,
employee.
Starbucks employee. Trust fund baby.
Professional activist.
Professional activist.
George
Maybe
Soros paid.
maybe you have that one guy that like fires the chickens at like airplane windshields. Then again, no, that guy probably loves his job. Never mind, he can't be
I was gonna
Antifa.
say
That guy
that sounds like
probably fucking comes into work every single day with a smile on his face.
too much work for Antifa. So I tried to look up a couple of these things, like the Portland police providing free transportation to Patriot Prayer. I didn't find any of that anywhere.
Does being arrested count as free transportation?
Maybe. And I was thinking
if you twist it enough, yeah.
Maybe they. I can't think of I couldn't really find anything specifically where they said they were providing transportation to Patriot Prayer for free. I can see maybe if they were at a rally and they took them away because they were trying to remove them from causing
the Samoan guy. It's the
violence.
Samoan guy. That's who they're talking about. He got free transportation immediately to the police department.
Well, he did get arrested later on.
See? Proof.
At a different rally.
Free transportation.
Well, they just had to walk across the street at that point. Anyway.
It was still free, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Truth. Where's the lie? So, and then I remember this August, because my wedding anniversary is August 3rd. So this is the rally I couldn't go to.
Okay.
It was on the 4th. I remember the police, Antifa started throwing things at the police, and the police fired tear gas into the Antifa side. And one person claimed that the police shot a tear gas canister and it punctured his helmet that he was wearing. And they had a picture of a beat up helmet and a tear gas canister in the helmet, which I'm thinking is kind of BS, because with the amount of people filming things, you think that would have been shot and it would have been posted online somewhere, or at the very least you would have seen the aftermath of it, like the guy laying on the ground. The police reached out to him and they couldn't find, he didn't make a report or nothing. So I'm thinking that might be a lie. Also,
one of the Antifa guys, or
yeah, one of the Antifa guys said that the Portland police fired a tear gas canister and hit him in the head in his helmet and punctured the helmet and almost killed him. And he has brain damage from this, which might actually be an improvement for him.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, I have heard of people with brain damage magically acquiring new skills. Maybe he'll fucking acquire a thought process. Maybe a single IQ point.
Start reading Milton Friedman or something.
Just he just gets hit in the head with it and starts fucking quoting Soul.
Oh man, that'd be great. I love Thomas Sowell, dude. That guy is just badass. So I was thinking too, how many newspapers and publications and mainstream media outlets would just be 100% completely silent if Patriot Prayer members were actively hunting down and attacking people in Portland? How long do you think that would play out in the news?
I'm trying to. Month. I mean, if they were actively doing that, I'm trying to think of when I'm expecting to die.
This is
maybe a few years after that.
This is the quote is, which then allowed Patriot Prayer and the Proud Boys the opportunity to hunt and attack activists throughout downtown, as if they were just roaming around downtown Portland, hunting down activists.
What, do you guys have assassins?
Yes, totally.
Dude, Patriot Prayer is sounding more badass by the second.
Well, there was an incident where there were some people who were going to a Patriot Prayer rally who they were in a parking garage and they had long guns.
Okay.
The police went to speak to them, which is not illegal. It's not illegal to have or possess rifles. They had them. The police told them, no, you can't take them because the rally was in a park and it was a federal park. And so you
Okay.
can't have it on federal property. And so they told them that, and they said, okay, we're going to lock it in our trunks and lock the doors. And the police said, that's fine. So they didn't bring them. But the media made that story out to sound like that they were poised on the top of the parking garage as Patriot Prayer marched around, just waiting for the signal to start sniping people. That was how the story was portrayed.
That's awesome. Dude, Patriot Prayer sounds, if you just listen to the media's bullshit, it sounds like some sort of badass fucking ex-military militia group that's just like running around investigating and hunting down Antifa members. They've got like a fucking cork board with red wires going everywhere, trying to figure out who's the leader, who is Antifa.
Right, like who are, it's Ted Wheeler, I'm telling you right now. That's who.
Dude, I swear to God, I want, if I get one wish in my life, I just want to see like a 10-minute clip of news from like the History Channel 1,000 years in the future talking about what's happening nowadays. Because I hope that all they have to go on is like the media reports.
Is our show.
No, ignore this show. Fuck this show. No, I want them to have just the normal media reports because I want them to report on the Patriot Prayer. Be like, this was this badass group of mercenaries running around the place slashing bitches.
Right, they had a hardcore murderer who yelled racial slurs at 2 Muslim women on a MAX train and then murdered 3 people or 2 people, injuring another as they stood up to fight him.
He's fucking Neo from the Matrix with that knife. People are jumping over him trying to stop him. Gut slash, eviscerations, fatality.
So,
train.
So there's part of me that every once in a while feels bad for Mayor Ted Wheeler. And then I realize how much of a jackass he is. Well, because Patriot Prayer doesn't like him. The police don't like him. Who is it? It's the Democratic Socialists of America actually called for him to resign his post as police commissioner. And they want Joanne Hardesty, who's the city commissioner, to take over. So here's what she calls Patriot Prayer events, quote, hate marches. And she wrote, quote, this story, like many that have come before it, simply confirms what many in the community have already known. There are members of the Portland police force who work in collusion with right-wing extremists. So that gives you kind of like an idea of who they want to be their police commissioner, which sounds awful.
I'm trying to imagine how, because this dude kind of just bends over and takes it constantly.
Oh yeah, all the time.
So what the fuck is she going to do that's going to be so different?
She is more aggressively far left, where he is more of a complicitly far left, I guess.
Okay, he's more like, I'm really far left, but I'm not actually going to do anything. I'm just going to not do things. Okay, I got you.
He's one of these people who's listening to the consultants. He says all this stuff, but isn't really.
Oh, gotcha.
He got in trouble because there was a Patriot Prayer protest or something, and he went down there and like talked to the police that were there.
Okay.
And he got in trouble for being because someone took a picture, and he got in trouble for being at a Nazi rally. So ever since then, he's just been like super far left. Like he hates all these people. So he called the communications, quote, disturbing, and he added incidents like this contribute to the distrust that so many community members have about the Portland Police Bureau. And the police chief, Danielle Outlaw, she said she's directed an internal investigation for violation of bureau directives, which I'm sure they'll find nothing.
I mean, as usual, how many investigations have we had this year that are just like, yeah, we're going to investigate everything. By the way, nothing happened.
I'm surprised
So,
it's not part of the Democratic Party platform that says 100% investigations all the time, 24/7. Investigation Central running on investigations. I'm going to start my own TV network called Investigations. Just run this shit all the time.
are you going to work with the Democrats?
I want to take their money.
Okay. Fair enough.
Their money is as good as everybody else's.
That's true.
Be capitalist about this shit. I don't care about the color of your skin, but the color of your money. And even that, I don't really care so much about, as long as I can use
As long as it's spendable.
Yeah.
We'll take pounds.
I'll take
We'll
pounds
take
or
euros.
Canadian
I
dollars
don't
or
know about euros.
Bitcoin.
It's a little unstable. Yeah, Bitcoin's fine.
So Rose City Antifa also said, quote, the direct result of Portland police collaborating with Patriot Prayer and other far-right groups is that more of Portland citizens end up injured, assaulted, threatened, and arrested. Meanwhile, those bigots who travel from across the country to declare open war against Portland citizens are encouraged, protected, and supported.
Wait,
So
who are we talking about?
this is Rose City Antifa saying this.
Oh,
So I included this
I
in here.
admit I was confused for a second.
Just because I wanted to show like how these people talk, and that there's not, like, people say, oh, you need to, like, we just all need to talk, like we can reason with these people. It's like these people believe that they have war waged against them, and they always make these claims that the community or the Portland citizens, that the citizens are being attacked and we're just defending them. They always make this sort of claim that they're the defenders of the citizens or the community, and insert the tribe here.
Oh,
Okay.
so basically the elected representatives.
Yeah. So Antifa thinks that they're like some sort of, I don't know, almost like the Knight Templars protecting poor little pilgrims on the way to Jerusalem while they, crusade across Portland, beating up people who they don't like.
I finally got to see the meme you were talking about where they managed to make the rainbow flag hateful.
Right?
Oh, God. Oh,
So
that's horrible.
it's hilarious. So they fully believe that they're in a war here, and that anyone outside their tribe can either be a subservient ally or they're an enemy. And so I said, for all that's wrong in Portland, the people of Portland are not having war waged against them. This is just a victim mentality at its worst.
Sounds right, yeah.
So I also got a story from the New York Times, which we won't spend as much time on because it kind of just rehashes some of this stuff. But if you remember, the Oregonian, the local paper, called Patriot Prayer ultra conservative, which we all agree sounds kind of cool.
Mhm.
The Daily Beast calls them violent far right street fighting group. The New York Times calls Joey Gibson a right wing organizer, which is, hey, good job, New York Times. That is probably the best description of Joey Gibson I've heard from a mainstream organization in a long time. So Mayor Wheeler, it came out more recently that he's called for an investigation, saying they want to review the existence of bias in the actions of the Portland Police Bureau leading up to and during demonstrations involving alt-right and anti-fascist protesters. So he's totally in Antifa's pockets. He also said that community members have long expressed concerns about police bias during demonstrations. Incidents like this contribute to the distrust that so many people have about the Portland Police Bureau. Yeah, Wheeler's just basically attacking his own police force, which seems kind of weird. He also said that the texts appear to unnecessarily encourage Joey Gibson, the leader of a group that perpetuates hate speech and violence, which, if you ever listen to Gibson speak, he always talks about like coming together, and he's a like religious kind of guy. Like he kind of looks up to, I'd say he kind of looks up to Jesus, and he talks about like peace and bringing love to people. And
Sure.
Man, it sounds so hateful.
I know. Well, and I think he's like half Japanese or something like that too. But he's, I guess the KKK are accepting people of color now. So,
I mean, yeah, they are. You can do whatever you want in this country nowadays. It's really good. God bless America.
Damn right.
I wonder if I'm allowed to join the Black Israelites.
Maybe, or the Black Panthers. Are they still around?
Wait,
Panthers aren't around. Panthers aren't around.
They're still around?
Panthers aren't around. It's the Israelites.
Fuck yeah! I want to join the Black Hebrew Israelites. Those guys seem cool. I can yell at people on street corners.
Yell at teenagers.
Yeah, sounds great. I get to do whatever the fuck I want, and no matter what happens, everybody's gonna say it's the other guy's fault. This is great.
Yes.
Actually, that does sound pretty good.
Right?
So Joey Gibson also said that these text messages are basically the same that he's had from police in other cities.
Sure.
Lieutenant Craig Morgan, who's the union president for the lieutenants, he said that this situation is no different concerning, how the communication with Joey Gibson. That Mayor Ted Wheeler's statement about our communications with Patriot Prayer organizers is either disingenuous or shows willful ignorance of the situation. So the police are pretty pissed at Ted Wheeler about all this stuff, except for.
How are they not perpetually pissed off at Ted Wheeler?
Well, I think they're mad at him, and they're mad at their police chief too, because she said we're going to implement training for Portland police, quote, around how to identify white supremacy.
I mean, sure, man, whatever, but I don't think you're going to find all that much.
Right. In hyper-progressive Portland. Yeah, so there was a city review draft last year of how the Portland police dealt with demonstrators, and it said that the police officers they interviewed found it more difficult to work with Antifa because of the group's looser hierarchy, which, according to one lieutenant, made it difficult for the police to find a single point of contact to convey information. And it also revealed that officers view activists on the left as more threatening and less mainstream than those on the right. So the individual police officers in the Portland police seem like they know what's going on. It's just the leadership.
I hope so. The fucking ground police are the ones that are having to eat the brunt of these problems.
No, it seems like the people in the offices just don't seem to care.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Take these guys out and put a helmet on them and see how they fare.
Well,
see how they feel about it.
This leads into several problems of the Portland police losing support and staff.
Man, we're really just going to have to rename this like the Portland episode, aren't we?
Yeah, it's Portland police, etc. That's what I should have named it. And we don't have to spend too much time on this. The main takeaways of this is that...
Oh, we don't have to spend too much time on this.
On this section, okay?
Okay.
We spent like 3/4 of the time on it. But I'll go through the rest of this real quick. I mean, dude, I still got like another couple pages of this stuff.
No.
But well, I'll give you the quick and dirty.
Thank you.
Basically, the Portland police more officers are retiring than they can hire, and we talked about this before.
Yeah,
That they're having a problem hiring people with all the pot smoking, and nobody wants to work for Mayor Ted Wheeler and Chief Outlaw. Nobody wants to work for these people. They don't have their back. Portland disbanded their reserve unit, which is basically people who are not paid, who volunteer their time to do like lesser police activities, like at a parade or whatever, for free. They disbanded this unit because they couldn't figure out how to give them legally mandated training, even though the unit itself offered several ways that they could do that, and a nonprofit offered to pay for like $100,000 of it, and they couldn't figure it out. So they disbanded that unit. So they lose police there, and then they also Washington County Sheriff has pulled out of the mutual law enforcement agreement that they had. So
Are the police just actively hoping that eventually it just all falls apart? So that they can actually do their job?
I think they're hoping that it gets bad enough that people will stop electing Democrats, maybe, or stop electing at least Mayor Ted Wheeler.
Jesus.
Get him out of office. So the Washington County Sheriff said that they're not going to give them assistance unless it's life-threatening or, like there's an active shooter or something, then they will. But
Jesus,
they won't help serve warrants or do anything like that. And that comes from an incident where basically 2 members of the Washington County Police got sued because they were helping serve a search warrant on a murderer in Portland, and somebody got hurt because they went through somebody's yard. He came out because he thought there was intruders.
Sure.
And then they said, go back inside. And the guy started cussing at them because he couldn't see because they shined a light in his face. So he went inside and grabbed an unloaded gun because he doesn't own ammo for this gun, and then came out with it and got shot. And so he sued the police.
Oh my lord.
It's like,
okay, that definitely is a time where you're supposed to yell police. But
right, exactly. Yeah, I understand that part. So I do think that there is some blame for the police in this incident. But here's a tip. One, if there are intruders out there and they're not the police, it's not a good idea to have a gun with 0 ammo and then go and get it and wave it around, because they may have guns too. And then 2, it's really not a good idea if they are the police to get a gun at all and point it towards them, because they will shoot you.
Yeah, cops are totally okay with you dying first.
Plain and simple. So that's it. That was the quick and dirty version of that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
now we can move on to non-Oregon news.
Yes.
With like 20 minutes left.
This is what I deal with every day.
Jesus Christ. All right, we might have to tone down the Portland news for a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe next week we'll make it the San Antonio episode. It'll be great.
We'll be done with that for a while. We'll do some Texas news. How about that?
There you go. We'll do some Texas news. Maybe we'll just like pick a state and just try and find some news. It'll be awesome. Anyway, so Candace Owens got yelled at by a stupid Asian man. So that's cool.
Yeah.
The Asian part is pretty much nothing to do with it, but he is stupid.
Yeah. So this was during a, what would you call it?
Yeah, why was she even there?
Hearing.
Yeah, it was a committee hearing for, like, it had something to do against like white supremacy. I forget. I wrote it somewhere. But anyway, I should make shorter show
On
notes.
the rise of white nationalism
There you go.
following
Oh,
Moss Massacre.
the rise of
Yeah.
white nationalism. I feel like these people are trapped in World War II. We've got the fucking Red Scare that they took them several decades to apparently to realize happened. Because now we're back there with the whole Russiagate thing. White nationalism is on the rise, even though Hitler's dead, his movement's destroyed, and everybody hates those guys. So I'm not sure what exactly they're pointing at there. Fucking, it feels like all the time. You guys are so far in the past. Catch the fuck up, please.
Well, yeah, they were having this hearing basically on the heels of the Christchurch shooting. And then you read the manifesto.
I did read the manifesto.
Didn't he say at one point that Candace Owens was one of his biggest inspirations?
I mean, yes, but that was like one of the very few sections that I couldn't tell if he was joking or not.
He was joking. The true one was the Ariana Grande shooting?
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, because it was also because it was around the same section where he talked about like how video games radicalized him, and Spyro the Dragon 3 was like his,
the most radical game ever.
Yes, the most radicalizing game. We need to shut down Spyro the Dragon 3 right the fuck now. I'm tired of Spyro getting people killed.
Yeah, he said that she was, quote, the person who has influenced me above all.
No, like if anything, that would be Anders Breivik, because he talks about Breivik a few times, and if I had to guess, I would say that's like his real main inspiration.
Yeah, it was just a troll on his part.
Yeah, it definitely was, because if he specifically says that conservatism is a failure of a movement, conservatism conserves nothing. It's basically corporatism disguised as empathy. And like the same way that we sort of talk about SJWs, he describes conservatives, and I'm like, God damn, how conservative are you?
Right. Like,
Jesus.
How far gone are you with
he's sitting there back there with fucking pinky in the air talking about God save the Queen. we need to get the monarchy back.
Bring back the monarchy. Absolute monarchy.
The white monarchy.
So, what Ted Lieu, Democrat from California, shocking. Anyone shocked? This is my surprised face.
I can't see it.
Darn. Up the production quality.
Look, next week for sure. I finally got my internet figured out so that we've got like a reliable connection. So I'll probably be the one handling it from next week, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, till I can figure out my shit.
Yeah, and the sooner I can figure out my shit, the sooner I can help you figure out yours.
Yes. So he played a clip out of context of Candace Owens defending nationalism, and like you guys can go check it out. But the thing that I thought was odd is that he played this clip and then he didn't ask Candace Owens to respond. He called on other people in the hearing and let them speak. It wasn't until a Republican member had some time that she was allowed to respond. And then when she did respond, she said, what did she say? I think it's pretty apparent that Mr. Liu believes that black people are stupid and will not pursue the full clip in its entirety. He purposefully presented an extracted clip, and then Democratic House Chairman Jerry Nadler attempted to silence her by falsely accusing her of calling Mr. Liu stupid. So he's like, you won't call members of this committee stupid. And she's like dumbfounded because she didn't call him stupid. She said that he believes that black people are stupid. Or apparently that he believes that black people are stupid. So it was just him trying to he figured he wouldn't be called out on his bullshit because he's like the committee chairman. And if you know anything about how Congress works, the chairmen are the ones who essentially have all the power, or a majority of the power in Congress.
Right.
So he tried to shut her up. She, of course, called him out on this, and it went viral.
Yeah, Candace Owens did a pretty good job on that one, actually. I'm not like a huge Candace fan, mostly because I don't entirely trust her.
I don't like her. I despise her.
Oh yeah.
I pretty much despise her, but
what's wrong with Candace?
She won this one. The social autopsy.
I mean,
then also I think she's masquerading around as a conservative. Let's be honest, she's doing a pretty good job at it.
She is. I mean, look, man, I'm all for people evolving and making changes and moving on with their life if they make a mistake. But I'm just like, I don't know, the social autopsy thing. I'm just like, man, that's such a hard swing.
Yeah.
That's such a wild swing all the way to the other side. I'm like, damn, dude.
Well, there's just, I don't know. For me, there's just, I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but there's just something about her that kind of rubs me the wrong way. But I get that feeling from like Laura Loomer and from, who's that other guy in Turning Point?
Not sure. I think I know who you're talking about, but I'm not. You're talking about the male presenter, right?
Yeah, he's the guy that hangs out with Candace Owens all the time because they're
both
Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, that's it. So something about them kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like,
I can see it.
Charlie rubs me the wrong way, but definitely Candace.
Yeah, they just, I don't know. It's like, maybe it's because they're so sure of how right they are.
No, you know what? It reminds me of, because when it comes to drama, I feel like I've got a pretty good radar at this point, mostly from watching years of drama on YouTube. There's usually, I don't know, there's this feeling you get when it's someone that you're just like, there's something missing. There's something we don't know that explains a lot more of this than they want to let on, Because how many times have we, like, I don't know how much you guys follow YouTube drama over the past 10 years. A lot of times you get someone that seems that they're saying all the right things, give it like 5 months, and you find out, oh, they were a complete shit show in real life. Just a complete shit show of a person. And you can usually get sort of a feel for that if you listen to them enough. And eventually, like almost without fail, every single one of them, I just stopped listening to them. And then, there you go. A few months later, it all fucking falls apart. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Candace or like Charlie or any of them. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't know. Especially, it's just Candace. Especially, I want to believe that she's like made like a full turnaround because she is saying a lot of really good stuff. But I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Right. Well, I feel like maybe it might be that she has like maybe I'm just picking up on the fact that she's got like a specific public persona that's a certain way, and it's not really who she is. I don't know. She seems
good. She does actually seem like just a generally combative person.
Right. Yeah. She seems to be super. Maybe that's what.
Oh, you know what? Last year for the debate with Blair White.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the big push. I think another one, someone did a video on her calling out her hypocrisy on talking about race.
Sure.
She says a lot of stuff about how she doesn't want to talk about it, but she ends up talking about it a lot, using her black card to her advantage sometimes. That's what keeps me away from her.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Well, I mean, if she's arguing with progressives, I feel like if you're gonna be a black person arguing against progressives, you almost have to play the black card. Because that's half of what they're focused on in the first place. Because I mean, for fuck's sake, whenever I talk to a progressive, one of the first things they go to is like, "Oh, shut up, white man, man."
You know what? It was
quiet.
She was talking about herself. She wasn't talking to she wasn't talking to someone. She was talking about herself.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
That's what's his
I was gonna say,
name?
like, in an argument, you almost have to. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't hate Candace Owens or Charlie Kirk. There's just something about me where it's just not my cup of tea, I guess.
Yeah.
They just seem to revel too much in the fact that they've become victims.
Candace Owens has gotten off some really good viral moments,
Right.
though. Like, she's gotten some really good jabs in.
I think they're both intelligent, and I do think that
sure.
they both have like a combative spirit, which I normally like, which is what I like in Ben Shapiro and Donald Trump, even though I don't love Donald Trump all the time. But they do have that combative spirit, but at the same time they try to like,
it's restrained a little bit.
Yeah, it just seems weird.
Maybe it's because I gotta admit, like, one of the things about Candace Owens that puts me off is, like, I don't know, she comes off as a little bit, and maybe this is the wrong word for it, but just a little juvenile when it comes to her combativeness, where it's like every single thing needs to be addressed point by point, and she's going to go through every little bit that you got wrong. And
yeah, like arguing with a 4-year-old.
No, I wouldn't say she's not that. I wouldn't say she's that bad, but like, I don't know. It's that kind of thing where, because there are even some people on our side of the aisle that I just I just don't interact with them very much, because if you do get into an argument with them, it's literally, you can't ever actually talk about the thing that's happening. You got to talk about all these ancillary points that have nothing to do with what's happening, because they want to pick apart every single thing. It's like, you were wrong about this thing, therefore you're wrong about the whole universe.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, it's like getting into an argument with like an ANCAP or an anarcho-communist or somebody.
Sure.
And you try to tell them, well, like, you pay taxes because you're getting a benefit from the state. Like, it's an agreement that you make, and if you don't like it, then, well, you can go live out in the woods somewhere if you want. And they're like, that's what the gang says. It's like, well, sure, but it's your gang. Like, there's it's a contract, it's a partnership, and they're like you didn't settle the land that you're living on currently. Somebody else did that.
Yeah. Somebody else built up quite a bit before you got here, and all they're asking for at this point is like a little bit in taxes. Because for most people, that's really what it is. It's a little bit in taxes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, if you make more, you're going to pay in more. But then again, if you make more, you're also going to be living in really nice areas. So, yeah, I don't know. The whole ANCAP thing is just silly. They always get mad, and they're like, how dare you say I should go live in the woods? It's like, well, you don't want to pay money for maintenance. You don't want to pay for anything. Right. You just want to live here with the rest of us, except we pay and you don't. And, like, no, dude, get the fuck out.
Ain't nothing wrong with building a house from the trees. You
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Totally fine with that.
You want to go live out in the Rockies? More power to you, brother.
There's a lot of land.
You got that money, so you can pay people to tear down that forest for you.
That's right. Well, maybe
not.
But...
Well, yeah, that'd be a lot of money.
That's true.
It's cheaper just to buy a house in Texas. I hear they're pretty cheap.
Oh yeah, no, Texas is
by comparison.
Unless it's a Californian listening, in which case, no, Texas housing prices suck. They're actually twice as bad as LA. Don't even look it up.
Like, the whole state is that way.
Yes, the whole state is. The traffic's even worse. You can't even, if you're from California, you can't even imagine it. The traffic is just, oh my god.
Yeah, you think
your traffic's bad.
You think I-5 or LA is bad? Like, that's like early in the morning traffic before everyone's awake. Just gets worse.
No, usually when I'm talking to people, I'm like, I don't even care about a wall on the southern border. I think we need one on our eastern border. And instead of like really, really long, we're going to make it really, really tall so planes can't get over it.
Just a dome.
Yes.
The Texas dome.
We need to protect Texas. All these fucking Californians are trying to come here and exploit our cheap goddamn resources and our cheap goddamn houses and our cheap goddamn everything, despite it being better quality than anything you fucking have in California. You commie fucks, go away.
Hey, Detroit has cheap housing. You wonder why that is?
I mean, look, we have cheap housing and it's nice.
I mean, you can figure it out. If your neighbors move away, or magically move away,
Yeah.
you find a house easily. You can buy a couple houses.
Houses here are expensive.
It's a great idea. There's an idea, Cody. Here's what we're going to go buy some houses out in Detroit. We're going to buy 3 total houses. One of them is going to be our little office space for the show.
Nice.
It's going to be fucking great. We might have to put up some fences and razor wire to keep out,
Hey, I'm pro Second Amendment.
That's right. I'm pro automated turrets.
It's not bigotry if a machine does it, right?
That's right. And besides, we already know that, machines have a hard time, differentiating black people from the background. So they probably won't shoot you. White people are in serious danger. Like, don't come anywhere near.
Yeah, there wasn't much more on this other than Dave Rubin got into it with Representative Liu. There was one.
This is my first exposure to Representative Liu, and
I've known him for a year.
Have you?
Yes. Last year he was talking to one of the survivors of the Parkland shooting. I follow Kyle Kashkef, really big Ben Shapiro fan.
Was Liu an idiot then too?
Yeah, he was talking about come here and smoke some weed with us.
What?
Sounds about right.
Jesus
Sounds very
Christ.
West Coast.
It's like, I mean, fucking sure, I'll smoke a bong with fucking Representative Liu. It's fine. What's he got? We got joints. We got dabs. What's he got?
That's the West Coast's answer for everything.
I mean,
you got shot. Smoke a bong, man. It's all good.
Light up.
Marijuana is legal. What do you have to worry about? Life is good.
Oh God, you know what we need to work on after we get the overlay up? We need like some sort of soundboard so that for this sort of segment we could just put on some reggae.
I smoke 2 joints in the morning. I smoke 2 joints at night. Yes.
Buffalo Soldier, we're gonna get demonetized.
Well, no. If you sing too much, then that's a problem. But we're not monetized anyway.
That's true. I forgot. I don't think we're even at the right view count yet. We're working on it.
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
Yes, for sure. So Dave was pretty much just, not making fun of him, but just kind of shocked that he was doubling down and tripling down. And so, and then all Liu did was retweet back at him like articles. Like he retweeted the article from who was it?
Washington
Post.
Yeah,
Washington Post.
JewishJournal.com.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that a real thing?
The title, yeah, it was like a Anti-Defamation League journal or something like that.
Because I got to admit, anything called Jewish Journal, I feel like that sounds like an alt-right parody.
Jewish Journal, brought to you by the Daily Stormer.
I'm just saying, I'm expecting like triple brackets around that name.
The title of the Washington Post article is Candace Owens' presence turns a serious inquiry into a farce. That was the title.
Jesus. Shut up,
he tweeted at Dave Rubin, and Dave basically just said, okay, like, I want you to answer this one question. Basically he said, do you think Candace Owens supports what Hitler did? Yes or no? And then he retweeted he said, I just played her speech. And then he tweeted that article from the
I just played
Jewish
her
journal.
speech. No particular reason. I happened to have it on my phone, and thought it'd be a fun, talking point for the chamber to listen to her talk about Hitler.
Well,
No
here's what he said.
particular reason.
Here's what he said exactly. I don't know what Candace Owens thinks, but we do have the video of her own words, and here's how many people have interpreted her words, and he posted the link to that.
That literally means nothing.
Jewish journal. Well, this is the politicians' game, man. Right here is that they will use other people to say things for them, and then it shows they will get credit for supporting those things if they're good, and then if they're bad, they can shift the blame onto the person who actually said them. That's the politician game.
Oh God!
And apparently he's pretty good at it, but it's just so like
no, but he's not.
And gross.
He's really not, because like Obama could pull that off. Ted Lieu, fucking. I'm just looking at this like, dude, this is just you're obviously. Everyone knows you're bad at this. Because it's not just being able to shift the blame onto other people. It's people not realizing that you're doing it. You've got to be able to do it without people realizing you're doing it.
If I noticed, it's pretty obvious.
Because, I mean, fuck, even Trump is better at this. Like, Trump's not exactly the king of subtlety, but at least he can manage this. Like, holy fuck. Remember back when he had, like, the whole grab him by the pussy thing?
Yeah.
I had a shirt.
Did you have one of the grab me by the pussy shirts?
Yep.
Oh my God.
It was the greatest thing.
That sounds awesome.
I was voting for Jill Stein and everything.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. No, that's not the point of this. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to talk about the fact that like the next day, this is actually something that I remembered from watching the Konkolinski show, to give credit where credit's due. He went on the next day with a whole bunch of like people that had accused Bill Clinton of sexually assaulting them or raping them or touching them or talking to them inappropriately. Just had like a whole lineup of women accusing Bill Clinton on a press conference the next fucking day. So it just completely, it was basically one giant whataboutery game where he was like, I mean, yeah, okay, I said that, but have you seen what Bill Clinton did?
Right.
And now everyone's talking about that, so it just sort of confuses the message. So the wires get crossed, and everybody's like, wait, which one are we talking about? And everybody just sort of gives up.
Trump is a pro at that.
Yeah. Obfuscating his own whataboutery is something that Trump is actually quite good at. But
now it's out there. Now people will be looking for it. So speaking of Trump,
you should be able to look at. This is something you should know about any politician, really. Be able to watch out for it.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards I don't like politicians very well. I'm
Nobody
gonna
likes politicians.
Go over this Trump v. the EU thing super quick, and then we can talk about Assange, and then we'll close out for the night if you have. Or do you want to save the Assange thing for next week?
You know what? Since it's already running this late, why don't we just do the EU thing? Because by next week we'll actually have something to report. Because right now I can go over what we know about Assange in like 20 seconds. He apparently, basically, dude got arrested. He was apparently being quite a bad guest at the Ecuadorian embassy. And eventually they just had it, and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. This guy can just get out. Yeah. And he's been arrested, and he's being charged with stuff. What exactly? I don't think we know quite yet. So yeah, at least not the full details of what he's being charged for, how that's all going to work, or
yeah.
There's a lot of information that hasn't really been corroborated yet flying around. So next week would probably be better, just because I'll actually have hard information.
Okay, we'll save that till next week.
Okay.
The Trump EU thing. Is basically Trump is pro Brexit, and he essentially tweeted that he said that too bad the European Union is being so tough on the United Kingdom and Brexit. The EU is likewise a brutal trading partner with the United States, which will change. Sometimes in life you have to let people breathe before it all comes back to bite you. And then he announced that he would impose $11 billion in tariffs on EU goods.
Damn.
Yeah, basically the same thing he did with China, Hey, come to the table, make better deals with us, or we're just going to tariff the fuck out of it. And we got all the money, so.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to tariff them on behalf of the UK. I got to admit, that's surprising.
Well, I don't know if he's doing it on behalf of the UK. He's probably doing it on behalf of the US, I would think. But the UK is just another jab in there,
Sure.
And he's trying to. I mean, Brexit. Who knows what's going to happen with Brexit? They keep fucking around, but
well, I mean, it was supposed
all the way to Halloween.
Yeah.
They just pushed it back, and I'm just like, can you guys please? It's been like 2 years now.
I just want to know, when do I need to buy my plane ticket for the revolution?
Apparently Halloween. So congratulations.
I get to dress up and everything. No one will know. No,
dude, you should go there as like a fucking like American Revolutionary pipe, like
George
flute
Washington.
player. You should go there as like a flute player. Just walk down the street. Just the whole way down.
By Halloween, I have to learn to play the flute and also Yankee Doodle Dandy.
All you gotta do is just learn one song.
That's right. You literally don't have. I mean, there are some. You do actually have to learn how to play the flute, or it's going to come out. I'm just imagining him just being like, dude.
I'll just play it on my. I'll just walk down the street with like a boombox and play it over that. How about
that? How many Eagles are on the boombox?
50, of course.
Not American enough. More Eagles.
More Eagles?
More Eagles.
One for each state? Oh, I guess 51 because Britain.
That's right. You need at least you need 52 because I think Puerto Rico is joining.
Awesome. I'm down.
It's about time.
Well, we were talking about in one of these shows making Mexico part of the
That's right. Make Mexico American again.
So one thing I thought was funny about this was an independent article, is that they said they made a big deal about Trump tweeting out, quote, "I think what the Democrats are doing with the border is treasonous. Their open border mindset is putting our country at risk. We'll not let this happen." And they made like this claim that he's accusing the Democratic Party of treason. And they also threw in the note, which is a crime punishable by death in the U.S.
Fuck's sake.
You want to know in the last time someone was sentenced to death for treason?
No.
150 years ago.
Oh, yeah. The Civil War.
It seems like a real, it seems like an urgent risk. Something we really need to worry about.
There's tons of it everywhere.
A law that no one has used in over a century. Hooray.
Right, well, that's everything we had for this week, guys. I'll wrap it up here because we're going a little long. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Travis, for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Thanks, man.
And we will see you guys next week, next Thursday. So
pretend we have an outro.
Bye, guys.
See y'all.